Canadian first, Canada last, Canada always. Let's bring it home. Wow, what a group. I see many of my old friends. I've seen you a few times around these tables. Great to be back in beautiful British Columbia. As a born and bred Western Canadian, I always feel at home when I'm in BC. Some of my best childhood memories are here from our camping trips and family visits and so on. And, I remember when I would go on these road trips with my parents, and they would basically teach me the lesson in Canada that if you want something, you got to work for it. We went to Penticton once for a campsite, and there was these kids tearing around on Sea-Doos, jet skis. So I said to my dad, "Can you rent me one of those?" He said, "Well, we don't have enough money for that, but we could rent you a little pedal boat instead." So I pedaled out into the middle of the lake, and these rich kids came up on their Sea-Doos and started splashing me and laughing. So I went back to the shore, and I told my dad about how terrible this was, and he should really rent me a jet ski. And he said, "Well, I'll make you a deal. When you get back home, we'll try to find you a job so you can save up some money. And when you turn 16, we'll lend you the minivan. You can use your money to fill it with gas and to rent yourself your own campsite and to rent your own Sea-Doo, because that's how life works. You have to work hard if you want stuff. But in Canada, if you work hard, you get stuff. You get a house, you get good food, you get a safe neighbor." That was the Canadian promise. But after 9 years of the NDP Liberal government, that promise is broken. Both carbon tax Chrystia Freeland and carbon tax Carney have been running our economy into the ground for the last 5 years. They have been Justin Trudeau's economic lieutenants. Carbon tax Carney is the official economic advisor to Justin Trudeau. Chrystia Freeland is his, until recently, finance minister. What have they done? Well, we have 2 million people lined up at food banks. The cost of food has risen 37% faster in Canada than in the United States over the last 4 years. Cost of housing has doubled. It's risen faster than in any other G7 country. Vancouver house prices are now the most expensive in North America, worse than New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, all the big American cities that have more people, more money, and less land. Their folks get more affordable homes than do Vancouverites. And look at our economic growth. It's the worst in the G7 since Carney and Freeland took over Justin Trudeau's economic policy. Our per capita GDP, that's income per person, is lower than it was in 2019, the year before COVID, even while the American incomes have gone up by 8%. So $500 billion net investment has left Canada to go to the United States, where it is building businesses, pipelines, factories, mines that pay American wages with our investment dollars. Why is the money leaving? Because you can't get anything built in Canada, and even if you do, you're taxed into the ground for doing it. So we're losing, all because carbon tax Carney and carbon tax Chrystia have been driving the economic policy off the cliff. And now carbon tax Carney wants to go even further. He proposes to raise the carbon tax even more. He has the same policies as Justin Trudeau. That's why I say they're both just like Justin. And we'll see, they'll lie. The lying Liberals will try to tell you that they are going to do everything differently than they have done for the last 9 years. They're going to pretend that they've changed their mind about all of the policies that they imposed on our people for 9 long years. But they'll just tell the lie long enough to get through the election, and then they'll go back to doing what they've been doing before. Meanwhile, while the Liberal Party is in chaos and Jagmeet Singh keeps them in power, our country is faced with the new threat of President Trump's proposed tariffs. We could not be weaker or more divided than we are after 9 years of the NDP Liberal government. And that is why we need a carbon tax election, so that Canadians can elect a strong, competent, patriotic government that will take back control. We will take back control of inflation, take back control of spending, debt, taxes, take back control of immigration, take back control of our borders, crime, drugs. We need to take back control of our lives in Canada. That can only happen with a new election to allow Canadians to choose a common sense conservative government. What will we do? We will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Let's start with taxes. I have now announced 3 major tax cuts if I am elected. 1, I will axe the carbon tax that Carney, Freeland, and Trudeau have imposed on Canadians. Jagmeet Singh has voted to quadruple that tax as well. I will get rid of it to lower gas, heat, and grocery bills and to bring home $30 billion in annual GDP growth that even the government admits would return if we got rid of this tax. 2, I've announced I will take the GST off new homes to save you up to $50,000 in your purchase and to stimulate an extra 30,000 homes built every single year. 3, I announced today that I will reverse the Liberal jobs tax. That is the hike in the capital gains tax. I will reverse last year's capital gains tax hike so that we reward our farmers, entrepreneurs, small businesses, home builders, and other risk takers for putting money out on the line to build our economy. We need more investment, not less. And so I will axe the Liberal jobs tax and bring down capital gains taxes for Canadians. That is part of my plan to bring home investment. It also includes rapidly green lighting, LNG liquefaction plants, mines, and data centers, massive data centers. You know, Meta, Google, Microsoft, and Amazon are all either buying or refurbishing nuclear plants so that they can power their own data centers. An AI inquiry takes almost 10 times as much electricity as a Google search. So these massive data centers require energy. What do we have in Canada? Clean, reliable, baseload energy. I want these billions of dollars invested here so we get the revenues and we get the jobs. But that means we have to approve nuclear plants, LNG plants, natural gas power plants, and hydroelectric projects. And we need to approve them in 18 months, not 18 years. We need to approve LNG exports so that British Columbians can send our 1,300 trillion cubic feet of natural gas to Asia, where it will close dirty coal-fired plants and replace it with clean Canadian energy while we bring home paychecks for our welders, our pipe fitters, our carpenters, and our people back in this country. We need to fix the budget by capping government spending, cutting government waste, cutting back on corporate welfare, bureaucracy, and consultants so we can bring down deficits, interest rates, inflation, and income taxes. And we need to build the homes. Right now in Vancouver, 60% of the cost of every newly built home is government. Taxes, charges, fees, delays, consultants, lawyers, accountants, lobbyists. That's where the money goes for new homes in Vancouver. For every single newly built home in Vancouver today, according to the C.D. Howe Institute, $1.3 million is to pay the government. And only about $500,000 is to pay for materials, land, workers, and profit for the builder. So more money from a new home goes to bureaucrats than goes to the carpenters, electricians, and plumbers who actually build the home. And to add insult to injury, most of the people who build homes can't afford to live in them. We must slash the government, bureaucracy, and taxes. So I will take the GST off new homes. I will pressure the EB government to take the PST off new homes so that we can reduce the cost by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I will incentivize the cities of the Lower Mainland to speed up permits, free up land, and cut development charges so we can build 15% more homes per year every year, and we can restore home ownership like we had before this NDP Liberal government. And they will be in safe neighborhoods because I will stop the crime. I will carry out the single biggest crackdown on crime and drugs in the history of Canada. It will be absolutely brutal how I will crack down on criminals. First of all, we will get rid of automatic release for the criminals who get out again and again and again. Right now, in Vancouver, they have to arrest the same person as many as 150 times a year. Now, that's just not a number that I pulled out of thin air. It's a fact. The BC Association of Mayors wrote in a letter to the federal government that the Vancouver police arrested the same 40 offenders 6,000 times. Think about that for a second. 40 guys did 6,000 crimes. That's 150 crimes per offender per year, one crime every 2 days per person. But they keep getting out. That's because of the NDP Liberal laws, C5, C75, and C83. I will repeal all those laws, and I will pass a new law that's called jail, not bail. It means that repeat offenders will be ineligible for bail. They will be ineligible for parole, probation, or even house arrest. It will be jail, not bail, jail, not bail. We will secure the borders. with high-powered scanners to intercept drugs, guns, and stolen vehicles at our ports, more boots on the ground at our borders. We will pay for it by canceling the multi-billion-dollar gun grab. The government is trying to take guns away from licensed, law-abiding, trained, and tested sport shooters and hunters who are not criminals. This is a waste of money. I will end that and put it into going after gangsters and gun smugglers, and we will ban the drugs. There will be a hard ban on all the substances in the Controlled Substances and Drugs Act. We will ban fentanyl, crack, heroin, cocaine. I will shut down the consumption sites. I will shut down the consumption sites. And I want to thank the Chinese community in Richmond that has stood up against these drug dens, and thank them for fighting back against these disastrous locations. I will be banning these things and getting the drugs out of your community. We will no longer give out tax-funded opioids. Instead, we will provide treatment and recovery services to get people off drugs and bring them home drug-free. Speaking of free, we will be the freest country on earth. I will make clear to President Trump that we will never be the 51st state. We will be a strong and independent and sovereign country. We will retaliate against any American tariffs on our people and on our industries. And we will also say to President Trump, if you attack our economy, you will make America weaker, because your number one friend and neighbor will be, unable to do its best on borders and national defense if its economy is under attack. So why not our two separate countries work together to rebuild our economies, integrate even more free trade, and use the resulting resources to strengthen our borders and our militaries in order to stop danger? Let's make both countries, separate and sovereign as they are, stronger, safer, and better. That is the common sense conservative approach. Our approach is to bring home Canada's promise, to make Canada stronger and more secure, to put Canadians first, Canada last, Canada always. Let's bring it home. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.